I did that.
Right.
Hold on, Jezebel, don't need
Mhm.
that. There we go, Mark of Arcanon. And um,
I'm Brian of Archanon.
Oh
next
man, I
is
was
that
already
next
gonna
week?
lead with that.
So let's go. Mark, Brian, Matt. Okay, we'll do it.
Yeah,
uh,
the third one will be the mat of the door.
Matadon,
Mat of the
Mat,
door.
Mastodon. Except that I don't use that account as
I
It'll
Brian.
can't
be
use
called
Brian.
what
I
do
can't
you
use Brian the Brain because that's like next week, I think.
All
So.
right.
it'll be called the episode will be called what do you call a guy with no arms and no legs and lies in front of a door?
That
That's
was
your
my
episode name.
answer.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. All right, I'm gonna start. Welcome to Podcast 1999, the podcast about Space 1999. I'm your host, the Mark of Arcanon.
And I'm Brian of Archanon.
And I'm Matt. You were kind of like,
He's the
what
guy
are you
who
gonna do? So
you're gonna be the guy with no arms and no legs who lies in front of a door.
right. That's how you get into Arc in and out of Arcanon because it's now a room and not a planet.
Well, it's like you get in and out by either you are peaceful or you must kill.
Urge to kill rising. Yeah. I have a few of those
Yes.
notes. Urge to kill rising, urge to kill lowering, that sort of thing.
It's the origin story for that, isn't it?
Yep. I think this is one of the ones where most of the quotes I wrote I don't think were actually correct. There is always someone left to kill. That is a direct quote. That was a good one. I like that quote. So yeah, the Mark of Arcanon, you want to trivia us up?
Yeah, let's do it. This is eighth in episode order for season 2. We have Charles Crichton back for his third of 6 episodes this season. As previously mentioned, this was filmed at the same time as last week's The Rules of Luton, which is why we only get a few glimpses of Mart Landau and Catherine Schell in the shuttle, and usually on the screen. To save money, this doubling up will be done 3 more times this season. So yeah, that's total of 8 episodes produced in this manner. Is generally considered to not produce great episodes. We have a new writer in Lou Schwartz with the primary credit this week. That's Lew, not like Lou. Born 1926 in Glasgow, Scotland, he mostly had a TV writing career that spanned from the late 50s to the mid 80s, writing for shows like There Was an Englishman, an Irishman, and a Scotsman. Great Scott, it's Maynard, and Bootsy and Snudge. This is his only Space 1999 credit, but he did pass away on August 29th, 1999, 15 days before Moonbase Alpha blasted out of orbit.
Ah,
Wanted to get out
Wow.
early, before everything hit the fan.
He
You
knew.
have to
He
live in a
knew
dome
he knew
city.
it was coming.
he knows coming.
It was an episode written by a guy who'd watched the entire series. Anyway, we have another new doctor, Dr. Raul Nunez, replacing Dr. Ben Vincent, but only for this episode. That was stated as inexplicably in most sources I saw, and I did not find an explanation. It was played by Raul Nuni, misspelled Raul Nui in the credits, which also has him misattributed as Raul Nui on IMDb. This is Raul Nui's only credit, but you can see Raul Nuni in Return of the Saint, The Fear, and as a doctor in the movie Hellraiser. As the ill-fated Andy Johnson, we have John Alkin, born in 1947 in Rugby, England, UK. His career mostly involved British TV, and you can see him in Have I Got You, ... Where You Want Me, A Man Called Intrepid, and yes, honestly, his most recent credits were 67 of the 869 episodes of Crown Court. Alkin's voice was overdubbed for this episode because he had a heavy cold. I couldn't find information on who provided his voice. As Etrek, that's the kid, we have Michael Gallagher. I didn't find information on his age or nation of origin, but if IMDb's information is correct, this is his first acting credit, and the only one we only had one in the 80s until his career picked up in the 90s and onward. You can see him in Jag, The West Wing, and Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction. Like Alkin, Gallagher's voice was also overdubbed in this episode because he also had a severe cold. I'm going to assume he was dubbed by an adult woman.
So he didn't smash watermelons.
No.
It could have
Maybe.
been Gallagher 3. Gallagher 3, maybe.
He was young Gallagher, maybe.
How many Gallaghers were there out there? There were multiple Gallaghers.
I'm gonna guess because there were two, but we didn't find out about the second one until people really started examining closely. There are probably more than two. There's always more than if somebody cheat. You find out somebody's cheat on you with one person, then they probably cheat on you with more than one person.
Well, I thought it was like his older brother, another Gallagher.
Yeah, it's kind of like how
maybe.
the other guy Hanks does the voice of Woody whenever it's not an actual Toy Story movie.
Oh,
I forgot the guy's first name, but it's
Tim Hanks, probably.
Tim Hanks. Yeah. Anytime it's not an actual movie, you're hearing Tim Hanks, not Tom Hanks or whatever. I don't think
Oh,
it's
wow.
Chet Hanks.
That
does
might
Chet,
actually
does Chet
right.
Hanks come on and he's like,
sounds right.
yo, 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 yo.
So I went on Toy Story Mania, and that's Brother Hanks. That's not Tom Hanks' voice there, because that's how he gets money.
Toy Story
So-
Mania.
So this Gallagher was in Game of Thrones, you said? It's always on your credits.
No.
Or was it somebody else?
Somebody else was on Game of Thrones.
Okay.
We're almost there.
Let's move on to that person. Or
John
someone
Standing.
else.
That person, named John Standing, plays Pask, born in 1934 in London. He's one of England's most respected actors, hailing from an acting dynasty that extends back to his great-grandfather in the late 1800s. And he's still working today, most recently appearing in The Great Escaper. But aside from that, you can also see him in All the Right Noises, Danger Man, and as Jon Arryn in the first episode of Game of Thrones. I don't know if he was one of those, if he died or something. But
He probably got thrown out window. No, that was the kid that gets thrown out window.
He ended up I don't know. Spoiler.
I don't care if I spoiled you because I've only seen the first
die.
episode of Game of Thrones.
I'm just gonna say you didn't die.
Okay.
That's the only spoiler you're getting from me.
Hmm.
Even though you don't really need to watch it. Also, you can hear him as M in many recent radio plays based on James Bond movies. Finally, as both Lyra and Morna, we have Veronica Lang. Born in England, she's had a long career that spanned from the 60s until just a few years ago. You can see her in Bluey from 1977, Roadhouse from 1979, and Matlock Police. Not to mention 3 episodes of Chimp Mates. Like everyone else on the list, this is her only Space 1999 appearance. And that's your trivia.
I'm always interested in actors who've been in these major British franchises that just have tons and tons of people in, like Harry Potter or Game of Thrones, and see how many of them go back to an episode of Doctor Who I saw 40 years ago or Space 1999.
I don't think we've had Harry Potter ones all that much. We've had a lot of Star Wars and a few Game of Thrones, but I think if you were the right age to be like a young adult on Space 1999, you were the right age to be an old person in Game of Thrones, and that kind of worked out. Like they put everybody in that thing.
Sure. I guess you're double tasked today. Story, double task.
It's time for this story, which by the way was very difficult to write for some reason. While Koenig and Mayan are I already messed up. While Koenig and Maya are on an eagle trapped in a meteor storm, Alan Carter and Andy Johnson are searching for dylanide crystals in a cave on the moon. They discover a chamber with 2 humanoid aliens in cryostasis, an older man and a young boy. When Alan investigates more closely, he's hit with a shock that causes him to collapse. Tony then recognizes a symbol on the chamber as Flame on the Demon Glow. Then the cavern roof collapses, but Tony is able to deactivate the force field and the aliens are pulled to safety. They're taken to Alpha to recover, and we see them regain consciousness while unsupervised. The boy, Etrek, asks his father to kill him, but the father, Pask, says he can't, and he wraps his head with a bandage to cover the glowing mark on his forehead. Pask's forehead, that is. Pask informs the Elfins that they are from a peaceful planet called Archanon, and he says his group was sent to explore the universe, but after finding Earth, they were driven mad by mankind's brutality, and his own wife and Etrek's mother, Lyra, led a mutiny and imprisoned them in the stasis chamber for 1,000 years. He says they weren't killed because it's physically impossible for an Archanon to kill someone. Etrek passes out from hunger, and Alan takes him to get a burger and teach him about rugby. Helena and her assistant Nunez find a virus that's present in Pask's blood, but not Etrek's. Meanwhile, Pask has talked Etrek into escaping with him, and he knocks out an Eagle pilot with plans to hijack an Eagle. Carter and Johnson have discovered that an Archanon device they retrieved is playing a log recorded by Pask. When they summon him to show it to him, Pask murders Johnson and knocks Carter out, and they run for it. Pask takes Helena hostage, and Tony grabs Etrick as his own hostage. Pask says, "Go ahead and kill the boy," knowing that Tony can't and won't. Pask lets Helena know that both he and Etrick are suffering from a killing sickness. Nunez thinks that with some of Etrick's blood, they might be able to cure it, and Carter talks Etrick into giving him some blood, which he does by stabbing himself in the head where his own glowing mark is. The Elephants replay a recording by Pask's wife Lyra about how Pask had the killing sickness and Etrick would inherit it. Helena is successful in convincing Pask to go through with a blood transfusion to save Etrick with the hopes that a serum could save them both. Meanwhile, an Archanon woman named Marna, who looks exactly like Lyra but is 1,000 years younger, arrives to take Etrick into her care but shows up right in time to see Pask dying because turns out Archanons cannot give blood. Etrick is devastated. Carter says, "Cheer up," and gives him a rugby ball. Koenig returns to tell Helena that it wasn't her fault and kisses her on the mouth.
Not the mustache.
The end. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, once again, stop touching things.
You think they would stop
That would have, like,
taking people out of Christ?
kept this whole episode from having to happen this way. Just don't touch it. Study first. Or just
I guess it's different when they're on the moon, but
like it's ours. We can play with it.
They were really paranoid
Yeah.
about it too, because they buried them under all this rock deep under the moon, and yet still they had a deadly force field around it in case someone found it.
So
Yeah.
does a paper cut kill an Archanon?
yes.
Well, it didn't say that blood didn't clot. It just, well, first he goes off about how it's spiritually significant, blah, blah, blah. But that was just a ruse to get him to not have his bandage looked at. But yeah, there does seem to be some strange, I suspect their blood regenerates very, very slowly. And that major trauma will kill an Archanon easily, which is not too dissimilar to a human when you think about it. I mean, if you cut enough holes in a person, they're going to bleed out. So I don't know. Exactly. It was kind of a weird plot twist.
I don't know how deeply the kid stabbed himself in the forehead. They didn't edit that particularly well.
I think they're trying to avoid
cut away as much as possible. So like they cut away from Andy Johnson being murdered to the point where I didn't know he was murdered until I saw it in other trivia elsewhere.
Yeah, it's probably just yeah. It's if you rewatch it, editing thing. Mm-hmm.
If you rewatch it, you just basically see him go like, "Ah!" Like you see part of him strangling him, and then he's just discarded, and we only think about Alan Carter after that, who is not dead.
At the beginning of the episode, I said he'd be 100% screwed in season 1. And it turned out he was. I was granting him he'd be 50-50 for this season if he was going to make it through the episode.
I was rooting for Andy. I liked his jacket. He had the coolest. He had a black version. He's like the only guy who had a black jacket in all Moonbase Alpha.
You like the cut of his jib. Okay.
Yes.
I referred to him in
that
my
was
notes.
A censorship thing. I think it was a censorship thing. I think they didn't want to show violence. Maybe it was a British thing. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, I referred to in my notes as soon to be dead Andy Johnson. So I pretty much called it. There was a weird thing where Tony said that he attacked Pask attacked Alan Johnson. I guess he just combined the two names.
Yeah.
Well, it's Andy Johnson, right? Those characters.
He said,
Andy Allen.
I rewound it and checked like 3 times. He said Alan Johnson.
Oops.
More than once. He said it twice.
It's weird the names you mix up. I've had coworkers named Oliver and Victor for like 2 or 3 years now, and I still just mix those 2 names up. I want to call the other person's name.
You know what's even weirder is when you mix up their names and it's recorded onto film for all time.
Victor.
And people like 50 years in the future are laughing at you for it.
And we know they have dubbing technology. They could have put him in a booth and dubbed that lane very easily.
Yeah.
They dubbed 2 of the actors.
Maybe they like legit didn't catch it, They're making 24 episodes and you got to get cutting and go to the next one. Like they got to do 2 episodes at once.
That is 100% the reason. 100%. Also there was a point when Etrick collapses and Helena says something like, "It must be the sun," or it could be the sun, which is like, what? Like if there's a father and son in front of you and the sun collapses, would you say it could be the sun? Like what?
I guess not.
It's insane.
But
Anyway,
yeah. So was that supposed to be a twist when they get the message that says Pask has the killing sickness? I assumed he had
yes.
that for 30 minutes by that point. Like
I think it's a twist where they make you think that these are bloodthirsty aliens, but the twist is that they're from a peaceful society, but then the twist is they have the killing sickness, so they must kill.
maybe I'm gullible because when he said we're
Double
peace
twist.
bringers from a peaceful planet, I was like, okay, sure.
It was a double twist meant to blow your mind.
Oh,
Um,
oops.
I this episode made me feel weird. The whole it made me feel weird to write the synopsis because it felt like difficult to parse out what happened because it's sort of like a lot of things happened, but also nothing happened. And it was just
Hmm.
weirdly structured. And that said, I appreciate that this was an attempt to do a season one style episode. Like I wasn't just rolling my eyes the entire time.
Yeah, we definitely get the star of the British stage acting as a villain. Who's I guess
Yeah,
Hmm.
not quite a villain, but he kind of.
it's also, but it's sort of a Tabor situation where they just gave him maybe like 50% more dialogue than they should have.
But think about the
And
Archanon was like the planet of male hairstyling for sure. I mean, holy
well,
The
God.
suit planet.
his beard just kept flapping like a curtain whenever he was talking, and that was super distracting. And I couldn't really think about anything else.
Hmm. Tickle, tickle.
Hair curtain.
And hey, I don't even. Well, I guess it was earlier. It was before the wife slash ancestor showed up. So just hairstyling in general. Because when what is her name again? The
Mara, the new one.
yeah, when she first showed up, I thought it looked like Catherine O'Hara with an
Ma-
afro.
Oh,
Major
I was
hair.
like, she ruled. I wanted to go with her to her planet. I don't care. Yeah, if she showed up, I'd be like, yeah, I'll go with you to your planet. I
And
don't care.
makeup technology over
Well,
the
did you
past
pick up
1,000
that
years.
did you pick up that was Lyra too, from the same actor?
Yep.
Oh
Well, it's
yeah,
like,
Because I
yeah.
yeah,
saw her,
Pask
I was going,
tells
wait a
us
minute.
that.
Yeah, but even before, first we see the recording of Lyra from how long ago was it? 1,000 years? I don't
Yeah.
even
1,000 years.
One of the guys said that the rocks that encased them had been there for millions of years. I'm thinking, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Imagine imagine that you go through all this. You go to Earth, you see cavemen, you get the killing sickness. I guess it wouldn't have been cavemen, it would have
No,
been like
it
knights.
should
You
maybe
get the killing
2,000 years
sickness,
makes more sense.
you're
3,000 years.
trapped on the
1,000.
moon, and then the moon flies billions of miles away from Earth, and you wake up on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, all that trouble to go to Earth, and then you know,
you don't need a killing sickness to go nuts in that
oh,
situation.
irony. Okay, so
That
this
would
is totally dunking on humans, right? Because they got the killing sickness from Earth. Apparently, humans have it, which means, hey guys, we can solve all of our violence issues by finding this virus that Helena found, and all getting transfusions, and we'll all be better, and people will be
it's gonna
peaceful people.
someone will find that gene and they'll be like, oh, it's specifically tied to this region, and everyone will lose their minds. They'll be like, oh, it turns out that only Scottish people have this
Oh yeah,
gene. Like, no, you can't do that. No.
I don't think we're gonna clean up violence in humans either,
No.
with viruses or genealogy.
With the
Well, it's like
off
that's
mentioned
one
Garth
thing.
Marenghi would be happy to hear that the Scottish have the killing gene.
Right?
I'm justified. Speaking of which, this is like Alan had like such strong Todd Rivers vibes in this one, like with the kid.
There is nothing has made me more delighted this entire season than the end where Ettrick is just like openly weeping about his dad being dead. He's like, here you go, sport. Here's a sports ball. And he just walks off like as briskly and as quickly as humanly possible while
Get
he's
big
still
out of
crying.
here.
It's so funny because he's the whole episode he's been given all these lines like he's supposed to be really worried about this kid. And he's just like, God, here you go, sport. Here's a rugby ball.
But
Which I
that's what
thought was
Todd
a
Rivers
football.
would do. Again,
That's
just
Yep.
a
for people that
priceless.
don't know what I'm talking about. Of course, Matt
Mhm.
Berry's character on Garth Marenghi, but it's kind of obscure stuff, I think. Still,
But that's a
Yep.
priceless autograph rugby ball. So, it's the only one like it probably in the whole universe.
Probably the only one on the moon
Yeah.
base. They can't play rugby on the moon base anymore in the
Hey,
corridors.
you wouldn't have a pig to kill to make a rugby ball. Is it a pig? Is it something else? Do you kill a hippo for a rugby ball?
I bet you could make a rugby ball out of a hippo if you tried.
You kill an alligator for it.
Killing the hippo
Anyway.
would be the most difficult part.
Let us make it out of naga hide.
Our hippo killing technology has advanced a lot.
Mm. You still don't want to be caught, staring one down unprepared.
No, you don't want to like just go man a man, mano a mano. Pig bladders. Okay, pig bladders.
The bladder is the ball.
So there's piss in that ball.
Okay.
Anyway.
That's what's in there. Okay, it's hard.
I hope that's a phrase. I hope that's a common phrase on the rugby field. Court.
That's the that's a catchphrase they put on the poster. There's piss in that ball.
Oi, there's piss in that ball. Yeah. Anyway.
So what was the element of the week? It was dialinite.
Oh, I didn't even bother to write it down because I assumed we're never going to hear it again.
Well, I was looking at the novel, and again, they're probably using earlier scripts. This week, it was going to be our good friend Tyranium again, which they already changed once in the metamorph to titanium, which is a real thing. And this one's
continuity, do your job.
Yeah, lady Gladys Goldsmith, the continuity lady, still not doing her job. I think we do actually come upon Tyranium in a later episode, so it will finally have its day on the screen.
We've had good Tony's beer continuity, not in this episode, but in general.
It's like the first episode we haven't had beer in. What the heck? What's going on?
I'd almost argue that we have bad beer continuity because anybody else would have quit by now. Like, it doesn't make sense that he's still making it. Maybe he stopped. Maybe
he likes it. He likes it.
Yeah, but it's like, why does he keep giving it to people?
Because he wants to
liquored up Pask would have been like.
He's just trying to get
drunk with the killing sickness. He's just unstoppable.
Kill you.
I have the killing sickness. You don't understand. I can't give blood. We cannot.
Now we're back to Tabor territory, though. Tabor liked the beer, didn't he?
I think so. He was just trying to grab Maya's leg. He didn't care about the beer. I guess Tony probably is same way. Right.
Australian Final Cup, 1927. It's got Wilkie's signature on it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's a real thing.
I'm sure he'll put it on the shelf and think about that time that his dad died every time he sees it.
This is just a fun glitch I got that when Helena is discovering the virus and she says could be dormant, the subtitles I was watching on YouTube and the subtitles came out as could be German, which I thought was pretty funny.
Ooh, bad job there, YouTube.
Who has the killing gene?
That would be great. That would be a great twist. If they found out the killing gene was German, then nobody would be that upset about it. You're probably right.
He has the virus that turns you into a Nazi. And by the end of the episode, he starts off looking like that weird Hellenic thing, and by the end he's like in a full, SS uniform.
It'd be like a Dracula. Instead of turning into a vampire, he turns into Hitler.
He looked more like
done, right?
He looks more like the Gary Oldman's version of Dracula than that hair. Then
oh, but the curls.
I wouldn't be able to talk to him without staring at his beard the whole time. I just wouldn't. It was just too distracting.
Mark, I'm up here.
My eyes are up here. He'll say
my curly hairs are also up here.
Right. I'm not surprised he does voice acting work because he did have a great voice. That was one thing he had going for him.
Yeah, it's
too bad
he was kind of wasted.
Yeah, he was kind of wasted.
I think he was kind of wasted. He did a decent job, but it's just he didn't have anything.
It's the mid-70s. You've been a star of the Royal Shakespeare stage, and now you're on the show. That could be a come down.
Let's compare this to season 1 episodes with a big bad scary man. It's like usually in most of those it's paced differently where I don't know,
There's like 10 minutes
named
where like
Jarek.
everyone's like, maybe this is our new friend, and then Koenig's like, he's going to try and kill us all.
Well, Jarek was a boy for half the episode, and Balor didn't talk for a while, and then for a while he was being friends with people. He didn't
Like
go
2
full
minutes.
villain. And also, once Balor did go full villain, there were a lot of scenes where he just threw guys while classical music played in slow motion, or just parts where we saw Koenig running around ripping danger signs off of things.
Yeah, this guy spends most of his time just holding a blaster to Helena, so
it's too much. It's like Collision Course. It's too much talking.
You know what I want to you know what I want to know? I want to learn the secret history that, like Patrick Stewart tried out for this role and lost it to this guy.
I wish I had some information like that.
It's totally made up. I completely made that up on the spot.
Yeah.
I was just thinking
I assume
somewhere in Patrick Stewart's resume, he's got to have some auditions that he doesn't admit to, because he poo-pooed science fiction in the 70s until he became, Captain Picard. Well, he became Gurney Halleck first. Actually, he was in Life Force. Then he became Gurney Halleck. And then he became Captain Picard.
What a hypocrite.
Yeah. Well, he also spent the first year of Star Trek Next Generation being like mad at everyone for joking around, and then he became a comedian by the end of it. Like literally became a comedian.
He loosened up a lot.
And yeah, sometimes the funniest people are the people that have been practicing clenching their butthole for 40 years.
Yeah, I think he had to pull the Royal Shakespearean rod out of his butt and finally became a nice guy.
Well, I mean, I don't know how to explain that one. I don't think I've met anyone who was as funny as Patrick Stewart, who started out serious. Like, I've never encountered that in my life.
I think that's where Shatner wanted to go. He was trying to be loosened up and become a funny guy, and he kind of only halfway succeeded.
I mean, arguably his rendition of Mr. Tambourine Man is funnier than anything I've ever heard. But
I think he did that seriously.
I don't know.
I'm not non-ironically.
I'm not convinced that wasn't a joke. I don't,
because
know
his more recent albums are like, oh, this is definitely a joke now. But that could just but he might have been trying serious. I really want to think he was seriously trying the first time at least.
Well, remember, like, Tommy Wiseau started calling The Room a black comedy after a while, and Nick Cage was calling The Wicker Man a black comedy. It's like that's a common thing when people cannot handle anything except for I'm going to turn this around.
Retcon this.
That still makes it a bad black comedy. Okay, it's a black comedy. It's not a good one because I didn't laugh much.
I don't know. I'd love. Is there like behind the scenes footage of the original series with people joking around and stuff? Because we've all seen tons of that from Next Generation.
There's a famous one of
there's a blooper reel.
Shatner and Nimoy reading a Mad magazine. Like in front of the Vasquez Rocks or something.
Cool. I haven't seen that, but I will look it up.
I put that on a drill card at the school I work for. I think it's read a book or something.
I like the one where they're rolling and the turbo lift's open and Spock comes out, heads to the chair, and his son Adam Nimoy is in the chair already with his ears on. And he starts cracking up.
Yeah, that was convention fodder back in the 70s.
Yeah.
You'd have to go to the convention to see it. I guess you can probably see it on YouTube now, but
would assume.
Yeah. Everything.
And then by the time Voyager came out, everybody was angry again.
Right. Anyway. So there were no bloopers on Voyager ever.
Everybody, they're always angry.
The weirdest footage from Voyager's got to be the original Catherine Janeway or Elizabeth Janeway. What's her name? Genevieve.
Yeah. I was about to say I kind of know the name, but I'm not going to get it out right.
When I learned about that, I was thinking, well, they should definitely like use that footage as like some alternate history. Like they go back in time and something, or some like timeline changes and Janeway changes, and it'd be like, oh, what's going on here? There's probably no way they could have done it, but
it's
I thought
not usable.
Till AI comes out. Well, Maya, Catherine Shell could have been Janeway.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this one, Helena needs her hostage T-shirt again, but Tony doesn't. So at least they're they're changing things a bit. But
I would
because Tony's in charge this time.
Would you guys think that Koenig and Maya were hooking up in this meteor shower if you were them? Because I
Yeah,
definitely
Maya
would.
was turning into Helena, and then they were hooking up.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe she turned into a huge. Maybe
Gorilla.
she turned into the Tabor. They hooked up.
Tony
I don't
seems to
know.
have this knack of taking Maya on extended away missions a
Yeah.
lot.
hmm
So
All of a
So
sudden,
you
yes.
gotta wonder, hmm,
we were supposed to assume that after Luton they hit a meteor shower, or are we like supposed to assume that
maybe.
these are
I
not?
think it's supposed to be later. Like
Me-
they were filmed at the same. Actually, this aired
Yeah,
first, so this would be
production
before
wise,
Luton. Maybe they ended up. Well, because they wouldn't have ended up on Luton after that because
I mean, it's
Koenig came
fully
back.
episodic. I was just when it started, they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
Maya and Koenig are away." I'm like, "Oh, well, that's Luton, right?" But then we go the
they
meteor
didn't. Yeah, they
shower.
didn't make any explicit connection to Luton. They said it was a mining survey, and in the blue quadrant, not the red or the green quadrant, the blue quadrant. That's the one everybody goes to survey.
Because
But you'd think that, well, production wise, they just shot those eagle scenes probably when they shot the Luton episode. They
yeah,
just
oh yeah, I'm sure. But and like last week when they do talk to Moonbase on the view screen, hey, it could have had to do with this episode. That would have been some easy continuity.
yeah.
Because
Oh well,
It'd be
Gladys.
like they're trying to do the Kiss solo album thing, which also didn't work out very well, I guess.
We're just gonna shake our fist and go Gladys every time the continuity goes off.
do you remember that season of South Park where they tried to give Butters like a lot of episodes? I think it was like the third season. They gave him a lot of his own episodes where he's the main character, and it just did not hold up, and it was kind of like the worst season of South Park. Anyway,
Vaguely.
Vaguely. I barely watched South Park at all in like what, 10 plus years now. So
well, this was more than that. This is like 19. This is like around the time they made the movie. I think it was
no,
sort
no,
of
I'm
like
sure I
this.
saw it. I'm sure I saw it,
Yeah.
but I just can't sit here and like tell you seasons of South Park anymore. Um, I think I
I
get the whole
stopped.
thing up to like season 10 or something, but yeah. What are they on now? Like 874?
I mean,
It's
I don't
almost The
think they've done
Simpsons, yeah.
one. Yeah, I don't think they've done one per year, but they're probably getting close to 30 now.
Mm. Because The Simpsons is now on third.
37, I think.
Wow, that's crazy. Why?
Well, think
Okay,
about
but they
this.
want to be
The
like a
the
British
amount of
soap opera. That's why.
Think about this, the amount of time between The Simpsons starting and South Park start. The beginning of The Simpsons, beginning of South Park is something like
8 years?
6 or 7 years, and which is shorter than the length of either of those shows being good.
Mm. Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
okay,
I can't say for now. I haven't seen either of them for a while.
I
So,
think I think that more recent episodes of South Park are probably better than more recent episodes of Simpsons, but I like tried to watch episodes of South Park while I was in the hospital, and it was like very, very difficult because I was going insane
mm.
from lack of sleep. So it's like that's not the kind of thing you want to watch.
So you were kind of in a Pask situation.
I watched a lot of Bluey at that time.
Mm. Is that
What's
what he was
not
calling
1977.
Andy Johnson Bluey in this
That's his
episode?
nickname.
Okay,
Is Andy Bluey Johnson.
there we go.
Um
Because I kept writing Bluey, and then I was like, "What?" Okay, there we go. Yeah, Alan's weird in this episode. I already said that once, but
um
Yeah,
apparently
Alan's
this
getting a
is
little creepy in parts of this episode, in my
I
opinion.
left this out. I left this out of my trivia because I feel like I've been going after Fred Freiberger, but it's Fred Freiberger is the one who keeps putting little songs for Alan Carter to sing, and
ah,
also had him
Oh,
use basically obscure nickname. What he has him call him Cobber, which is like apparently was an
Cobber.
obsolete nickname that with an Australian origin. It was obsolete in the 70s. Now it's like completely lost to time.
well,
Did he say fair dinkum? That's still around.
Something like that. I've never heard that
Fair
before.
dinkum is a Australian phrase. I saw it in the book, but then I was like, did I hear it in the show? I don't know if they did.
well, this place is at the Cobber and Amber, just as the Arcanons were found in stasis. This immortalizes them for 1,000 years, or immortalizes the statement for 1,000 years. But yeah, my first note is the singing is why you don't want to work with Alan Carter. But
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Bluey is an old Australian nickname for redhead.
oh,
So that was his
that doesn't
nickname
make
for
any
Andy
sense.
for dead Andy Johnson. And Cobber means close friend.
Well, that's what he says in the episode, so
It does
he's
kind of
just
make sense. It's Australia does everything backwards.
Hmm.
Red hair, I'm gonna call you
So,
Bluey.
so he should instead of calling him Cobber, he should call him Rebok. Hey,
Yes.
Rebok.
Yo, Rebok. Should call him
Rebok.
Greeny. Green is opposite of red on the color wheel. It should be Greeny. That
We
makes
should call
more
him
sense.
future dead guy.
Soon to be dead guy. Hey, what's up, soon to be
Hey,
dead guy?
corpse. Come over here.
So how many times did
Uh,
Alan get the crap kicked out of him this episode? Pass did it later, and then the force field did it sooner. He was down for the count a couple of times, just like in what was it, Dragon's Domain or something.
He keeps
He kept
coming
getting
up
punched
again.
out by Tony Salini.
He keeps coming out again. So, that's his resilience, right? Chipper
Yeah.
dude.
well, he's
Always
probably in
coming
a
out on
really
top.
good mood because he doesn't have Martin Landau to tell him like, no, you're not the star. Get back there.
He's in better moods in episodes when Landau's not around. We'll have to watch for that.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
that
he's
trait as he
just
goes forward.
it's crystal clear that he's in a better mood in any episode where he has a lot of things to do, and he's in a terrible mood if you only see him for a couple of seconds.
Yes.
I don't know if that affected his pay or if he just was like, why are you hiring me if you're just gonna have me on here for 2 seconds?
Well, this slotted him right back in his old spot because now Tony is basically doing Landau or Koenig in this episode. So Alan's back in his season 1 spot.
Which, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Tony is a really good Koenig. He's cranky and angry and irritable and bitter and racist. I guess Koenig's not usually racist.
Everything
but,
everything that command brings you, just a lot of irritability.
Yeah, he is the personification of like upper management who's waiting for their turn to take over.
But he's not the guy you give the line to, like, this alien glyph here. Didn't we see that on this planet and it means something or other? Wait, what? Where
that
did
was
this come from?
insane.
Just
That
this
was
exposition, just like let's get this here's it is in the picture here. Where is it? Yeah. I can't go
like
there.
there's no way
way.
there's no way Alpha has time to just stop by planets and learn a bunch of things.
Also, they're like, what,
the-
8 universes over now, and they're gonna be 9 by next week.
I don't know, where's Crom 2? I don't know where it is.
Rom 2. Well,
Nobody
apparently,
knows.
despite
It's just
the
thrown in
fact the
there.
moon has bounced all around the universe at this point, they remarkably close to some Arcanons because they turned up pretty damn fast at the end of the
They
episode.
travel fast.
In their little like
Yeah.
wasp spaceship with the little wasp eyes. That was the one cool thing about it. I like that ship design. It was kind of
Just for a
insectoid.
brief second, I thought like Koenig and Maya were gonna show up being like, we made it through, but we had to commandeer the ship.
Mm.
I don't know
Fun.
why that crossed my mind, but probably because it doesn't make sense that the Arcanons would be showing up.
Yeah, the Archanon ship was built by Martin Bauer between the filming of the 2 series. I haven't seen his name show up a whole lot. Like he may have done
Oh.
all of his work before.
Did he do it for
Season
Day
2.
After Tomorrow?
Yeah,
There are no
he
aliens
did.
in Day After.
Well, I mean,
But there are no
I-
aliens
the
in Day
stuff-
After Tomorrow.
the stuff he built for Day After Tomorrow, he thought he was building for Space 1999. So
And now
I
his
don't
dream came true.
know.
Well, he turned out to be sort of correct in the end. Well, actually, completely correct. It was. I guess it was not for Space 1999. It was used in Space 1999.
Mhm.
It was used. It technically was for Space 1999 because the failure of Day After Tomorrow made this a second season more likely, right? Because they wouldn't have been able to make both of them, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saying what quotes we wrote down. So I was looking for the ones where I was not putting words in people's mouths. So the only ones I have are ham, burgers, I like that. And of course, I don't know if I mentioned before we hit record or not, but there's always someone left to kill. It is worth
Yeah.
saying again. It's worth
There's
repeating.
always
that
someone
was-
left to kill is pretty much the best line in this. Or the heart will not pump what is not there. Even though that's sort of just literally saying what I don't have any blood.
That's pretty
Blood
obvious.
or love.
Maybe.
I gave Tony the line, I want kids and blood, but he didn't quite say that.
I mean,
Cobber,
my
cobber,
favorite line.
cobber.
My favorite line was Pask attacked Alan Johnson because why?
He was flustered. He forgot his line.
It'd be like if you guys got attacked, I was like, they attacked Matthew Clayton. Like, what?
What? Not Matt Clayton, no.
No.
Well, they've done that before, haven't they? It
I
wouldn't
like
be
the
the first time
tiny.
on the show.
I like they finally opened the box with the captain's log in or whatever. And inside there's this tiny little box with an antenna on it, and it can reach Archanon anywhere in the universe. It uses as much power as required to get the message through. It's like, okay, whatever.
Well, it's like
Yeah,
it's probably
plot.
the same technology they're using in Journey to Where,
Yeah.
Back to Earth. Similar
Ex-
technology.
and then Etrick goes, that was on the Archanon frequency. Okay. Archanon has a frequency.
You're on a frequency with
Yeah.
certain people, right? It's like, man, you're not my frequency, man. I can't vibe with you. We can't vibrate.
It's 446 megahertz or something. I don't know. It's just kind funny. It's like the Archanon frequency.
I
They
did
always
think
use
that
shorthand like that. Yeah.
that contraption would make like an awesome synthesizer, though, because they do a few synth noises when they first start screwing with. And I was like, what if you could do that'd be pretty cool.
Well,
Have
that
you
that colored plexiglass looked like it came right out of Tabor's ship, right? It was probably
Yeah.
a remake of that pyramid thing from last week or whatever.
They probably had encountered the Tabor, not long before.
I mean, if you got Matt, you may have looked into this, but the whole thing where you can use a mixer as a synthesizer by just hooking an output into an input and tuning the feedback by changing some of the levers.
No, I don't. I actually don't. No, that hasn't
I mean, you
happened.
can destroy your mixer like that, but
Well, maybe
It's
that's
what-
why I haven't done it. Okay.
it's called no input mixing. But
Nope, you went over my head on that one.
well, if you've got a mixture you don't care about or you find a cheap one at a garage sale,
Right.
look into it. Everybody else listening too. Let's destroy stuff. It's meant to be broken.
The
So where does-
music in this did get extremely pointy at the end. So the last scene definitely seemed like a softcore opening, but the end of a Space 1999 episode.
I think it
Guess
was
that's-
all recycled music, though. I don't think it's anything original.
No, I'm pretty sure we've heard it before. It's just so it's now also like when it was written for the scene, it was like a weird fit. Good music, weird fit, and now it's like an even weirder fit, I guess is my point.
Mm-hmm.
So when they were on where was it? Vega with the parrots, did they pick up all these doves that they seem to have in cages around the base now? Do they use them for like canary in the coal mine? Do they walk around to make sure there's no poison gases? Why are there birds on Moonbase Alpha is my question.
Maybe that was the Avarium. They got
Blue
the
grades
hydroponic.
birds.
It's down from the solarium, the aviarium. Okay.
Wasn't didn't Matt, didn't you have a theory that Lou Gray just had a bunch of birds?
What? When did I say that?
I don't know. Maybe it
Okay.
wasn't your theory.
Hmm.
That's
I-
so
I have
I'm gonna
theory there's
steal
a
your
parrot
theory.
farm. There's a parrot farm near Pinewood Studios somewhere. I don't know. That was my theory because they kept getting
Maybe.
parrots farmed.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, because we got the parrot
Okay.
in season 1 and stuff. So yeah, maybe it is. I don't
So
know.
they came
It's
from
like
the parrot farm.
And so they introduce these birds and then they give us this potentially chilling notion that he's about to like go all full geek on them, it's just like
Yeah.
bite their heads off or something. You're like, no. But then they cut away from, when he injures himself, he tries to cut the sign off his head.
And
we
then
don't even see that. It's just
Alan
a weird
has
edit.
his monologue as the kid just keeps turning away from him so to hide the mark.
Mhm.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, very awkward episode considering these people are from the Peace Planet and Arcanons can't kill.
Mm.
But then they do, and they kill and they stab and kill and kill and stab
And stab themselves. Yeah.
and stab themselves. Yep.
Gush blood. Mm.
So was the
Gosh.
real moral of this episode give blood? It's just like
Don't
a
give
big
blood,
thing.
it'll
Give
kill you.
blood.
No, but
Yeah,
since
the moral of this
transfusions play a
episode-
big part in it, I thought it was maybe like, this message is brought to you by the Red Cross.
Human blood would not have helped.
Yeah.
Arcanon.
I just mean overall.
Yeah,
Not
the
about
message
plot. It's
here,
like-
the moral meaning message of this episode is don't give blood, you will die.
I guess there is a shade to this though with the Arcanon sign, like the Archons who are the controllers of reality, but in this case I guess they would have been controllers of the ancient world.
Yeah, well, what
Hmm.
was the Arcadians are the ones who I guess settled Earth. So they're not Arcadians, they're
No.
Arcanons. They're not Archons.
No, I think
Yeah,
I think the Archon idea is like you want to escape this reality to go to heaven or whatever. The Archons keep you trapped in this reality, which is that's more
Mhm.
metaphysical. These guys are, ancient aliens.
Yeah.
Good old ancient aliens. They're almost what 91% human, they said, or something like that.
That's
When they were
not, I mean,
scanning them.
chimpanzees are what,
Yeah,
98.5 or
98.
something? So
They're
these
chimps
guys
are
are pretty
closer than
far
these
off.
guys. Well, their
Mark,
science is never all that great.
does this satisfy your urge for weird alien behavior, though?
No, they're
Okay.
too. They're just kind of bored.
Mm. Okay, because they do act weird, that's for sure.
It's close. It's almost there, but it's just not. I don't know. It's not there. Like clearly, it's like the Pask is trying to be kind of a serious character, and is not really going for it. And it might be. My theory is that it's because their outfits had them almost naked, and the set must be really cold because everybody's wearing jackets all the time.
Yeah, can we talk about the Zardoz school of costuming in this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, that slipped through my mind. I was like, what exactly is this? I was like, well, it's a little bit Greeks, a little bit Romans, a little bit Sumerians, a little bit Zardoz.
It looks like made out of cardboard. Their outfits don't look like they're
Oh,
made of like clothing,
Yeah.
which is not a good
I
look.
was I was dismayed at how Blu-ray brought out how poor those outfits looked. I mean, you can see the
Zardoz
brush
is more
strokes
about the
on the
Illuminati, though. These are the Archons or
you can see the
Arcanons.
paintbrush strokes on the where they were painting the costume.
Uh-huh.
It's just like you didn't see that in 1976.
I
No,
didn't see it
I
on
wouldn't think
YouTube
so.
on my computer screen, so I guess it worked out. Um,
Yeah, it looked rough.
let's do hard sci-fi versus soft sci-fi in this one.
Oh gosh.
I thought about it already. If I
It had
go
some
first.
it had some pretty good hard sci-fi elements in that. I got real 2001 vibe about, alien artifact buried on the moon. Duh. Uh, I also found it remarkable that for some reason they decided to build Alpha like immediately above the one alien moon base that was already there, apparently.
Well, it did seem to be over as a ways, at least. They kind of go
Well,
over
maybe
another.
they
It's at
were
least
off
one
a few
crater over.
miles. Yeah,
Yeah.
one crater over. There's another alien. And remember, there's like still the shadow moon base from UFOs around somewhere, supposedly. I don't know if you want to connect those two series or not. But that was yeah, and I like the new ship. I like there was a asteroid chase. No, meteor storm. Meteor storm. That was the line. So that was kind of cool in the hard sci-fi bit. But yeah, the oh, we were here and influenced Earth's history, sort of, ancient alien stuff was a little, very, very on the nose for the 70s and, Von Daniken sort of thing. Like we affected your culture, which I've never been able to really hot on. So I don't know. And the biology was also very weird. All the transfusions, and is it a virus that causes violence? And I was like, yeah. So I know I'd probably
They
give
fuddle a little bit when they're like
I
the
give it
virus is
60
genetic.
soft, 40 hard. I gave 40
Yeah.
hard.
I'm basically giving it 20 hard just for that sounds funny. I'm gonna give it 20% hard because the things are in place. Like there is biology, there's blood, but everything is so vague. It's like it's a killing sickness. Like what? That doesn't mean anything really. It's like why doesn't he just start killing? Why doesn't he start breaking things? How
To kill
does a
lysine.
disease determine how does a disease make you determine what a living creature is and that you can kill it? That doesn't make any sense at all, really. So yeah, 20%. And if I thought about it a lot, I might go higher than 20%, but I don't want to.
I'm going to go along with Brian's 40-60 because they have a bunch of concepts are here, but none of them are particularly finessed properly, I guess would be the thing. Again, viruses are not, genetically
Yeah.
sent.
It's carried through the
Yep.
male line. Well, then that's not a virus. That's a gene. What are you
Right.
talking
Yeah,
about?
I didn't even think about that. I was yeah,
Because at first I was going to be 60 hard, but then I was like, well, they screw up a bunch of that stuff, so that kind of makes it 40.
Oh, can we also mention Dr. Raoul's like most boring doctor ever so
He had a
far on
cool
the
accent.
show? He was just it was
But-
it was like too
but
laid back. It's
why-
like, yeah, what's going on? What are we doing? It's like, go away. I don't like
But
this
we
doctor, but yeah,
had-
Dr. Vincent.
we had I mean really we had
Matthias.
And yeah, Matthias, we had him
Matthias.
leave because he wasn't getting any lines. And then really Dr. Vincent didn't get any lines. And this guy gets so many more lines than the other doc. Like, why him? What's going on? Who is he friends with? Like,
What a
what's going
lucky
on with this
dude.
guy?
Well, maybe Vincent went on that extended extended holiday with Alan Carter and never came back.
Yeah, maybe he
Makes it
was
ski
worried.
vacation.
I mean, he will be back, but it's like maybe they were just worried, like, uh-oh, we better start giving people lines because people quitting over and over again.
Yeah,
Probably.
maybe.
Well, also
maybe-
you got 2 of your mains off set this week, basically, so you have
Mhm.
space for a few more other people to.
Well, maybe
That's
he
the
was
real
just
reason.
cheaper than he's cheaper than Dr. Vincent, so they brought him in. They were trying to cut
Like
corners.
Helena's doing the Barry Morris role because he's not here anymore, so he's basically filling
Yeah.
in for the
But
Helena
that's
role.
Maya's job. Maya's the super genius. But then they get her off the base, and so she's not around other than to give you like one line, and then she's missing again.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, thankfully, Barbara Bain is up to that task, but she's still the doctor. It's like there doesn't you need there should be some kind of like delegation of authority. Like maybe just shouldn't. Maybe they just should never have made her a doctor in the first
Maybe
place.
it's broken down somewhat after I guess a year and a half basing, and she says like 400 and something days in this, so
I guess it's possible. Like like maybe like she's like Patrick Stewart after a year of doing Next Generation, and now she's like, I'm not serious anymore. I'm funny.
right.
And instead of that, she's like, I'm not a doctor anymore. I'm the commander.
Yeah, that's why she's got a picture of herself on her uniform now.
Yep.
Yeah,
Uh,
everybody's got badges
I thought it was
because
fun that
they
she was
need to be
doing,
able to identify each other. There's only 200 of them, but
I thought it was fun that she was doing one of her like narration log things into a gigantic machine that had a huge sticker on it that said Alpha Log Recorder.
well,
Like, I
now
don't
you know
think
how
we've
she
seen
does
that
it.
before. I don't think we've seen that before, have we?
you mean Alpha Bat Log Recorder? That's straight out of the Batcave, man.
Yeah.
I guess we
We're
should
having
wrap
a
it up
bad.
for today, unless someone's got like a final thunk to thought on this.
Oh, this episode was okay. I guess I liked it better than the last couple. I think that all the glisters is still better than this.
It wasn't that bad an episode. I don't know
I
what
keep
how the hate
thinking
was on
about,
that.
yeah, I just keep thinking about it, about how that was
Why wouldn't
such a,
Landau hate this one? He's not in it.
maybe he just stopped. Sometimes your work gets so bad that you just stop talking about it.
Mm.
I'll say it's good to know that if you ever get attacked by an alien, there's got a big alarm button on the wall right next to you. It's labeled alarm button.
It's useful, yes.
Which I don't remember ever seeing before this episode, but
They
there it
just
was.
installed it.
Yeah.
They've had enough alarms by this point. They thought they should put one in there.
It's the bat alarm button.
And they're going to keep having alarms if they keep waking people up from stasis. They also called it stasis.
Yes.
Okay,
That's my
strange
other thought.
aliens. There's strange aliens in the medical center, and Helena has her stun gun sitting on her desk, ready to grab. It's like, that was weird. You normally don't leave guns lying around.
That was not smart. That was not a command move, Helena. You should consider not thinking so much like a doctor.
Put an
Anyway,
armory in. Yeah.
if you want to not think like a doctor, you go to patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius and listen to outtakes, throw us money for server bills. Listen to other podcasts that doctors don't listen to, like Films Filth, Citizen Kane of Podcasts, Time Enough Podcast for the Twilight Zone, Occult Disney, about the connection between occult and Disney, Luke Loves Pokemon, about Pokemon, Game Show, the game show about games, Hyrule Field Report about Hyrule. And
How do we know doctors don't listen? Are we too stupid for that? I don't know.
well, the thing is, I'm not a doctor because I make base assumptions about what doctors are like.
Okay.
If you measure my head, it's really small, and then you've proven that you're not a doctor because that's also not science.
Right. Anyway, I'm I know I'm sitting here, but I think I need to go kill somebody. We need to go kill again.
Urge to kill rising.
Oh, your background changed again. Okay.
Yep, I just changed it back. I figure we're done.
Cool.